How do I know you're not one of these people wandering around?
Well, maybe you wouldn't know, but I would know.
Oh, I see.
Naturally, we are very curious to know where it is you come from.
From another planet. Let's just say that we're neighbors.
You're a long way from home, aren't you, Mr. Carpenter?
How did you know?
Oh, I can tell a New England accent a mile away.
That I don't know, but I do believe they're making contact in whatever form or shape they take.
And there have been a lot of people that I've read for who have actually seen flying saucers coming out of the ocean, literally beneath Baja California.
As some have said, they come from within the Earth, but I firmly believe they're from outer space.
I found evidence that we discovered alien bases on the moon.
It gives life a little more dimension to think that there's some other life out there.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people that say there's visitors from other places.
So they just keep us in check by appearing every now and then. And they keep us in check. If we go over a little overboard, then they'll make sure we don't. That's my belief of that.
Have you ever seen a saucer yourself?
No. The only one I've seen is the one I built. That's probably why I built it. I am Henry DiCienzo, owner of Flying Saucer Restaurant, situated in Niagara Falls, Ontario. All my life I've been fascinated by UFOs. My greatest dream is to have an encounter of the third kind in the hope that they may answer all the questions that have baffled me all my life.
Have you ever had any alien visitors?
Alien visitors? Some weirdos, yeah. But not really. Oh, one thing that people have commented after one is that they're attracted by the lights, the colored lights. I'd like to realize one more dream. I would like to create one huge flying saucer in the same construction. It was ferro cement, with the exception of having skylights on a roof instead of the solid cement, and to put it in a natural rocky terrain, elevated maybe 15, 20 feet from the elevation, and it would truly look like a UFO has landed. The looks would definitely be mind-boggling, more like a disco-type setting with all its colors and costumes for the waitresses and the special drinks and saucer dogs and Saturn rings, whatever would complement decor. I would hope that if I ever built one, when the dream comes true, that they would be mistaken for a mothership or their mothership and hopefully land beside it, and it will answer all my questions. Finally, we meet Earth and space. That's what I would really like to see.
You know, somebody might think that you're disappointed in not finding some horrible beast from another planet.
I can't get over the awful feeling that this is the calm, and that the storm is going to break out any minute.
I understand that they can mingle quite freely with the human beings on this planet and not be recognized.
They look like human beings? Or...
Well, they are human beings. They just happen to come from a different background, so to speak, from a different environment.
There's no reason why they shouldn't, look like a fork.
There are some that are a little strange looking. However, those are not necessarily the majority of them.
The large eyes, or as Barney called them, wraparound eyes.
Some of them have 3 eyes. Some of them have small mouths.
A little tiny nose, thin slit for the mouth.
They would have maybe pointed ears.
No protruding part of the ears, no hair, and a gray tone to the skin.
You don't want to do business with the Greys, which are trying to do business with our government, fence riders, or the Blacks. These are labels only, but only with those that are willing to do battle to try to keep us free.
You see a craft, you say, hi, boys. This type of thing. Be friendly. And they're a long ways away from home, type of thing.
Well, I would hope they weren't selling anything. Beyond that, seriously, I think, well, since if all the signs of it were peaceful coming to my door, I guess I would seek communication with them and hope for the best.
When we arrived home in the morning, about 5 o'clock, the first thing that we noticed was the trip had taken us much longer than it should have, at least 2 hours. Both our watches had stopped running. The tops of Barney's shoes were scuffed. The strap on his new binoculars was broken. My dress was torn. And later in the day, we found highly polished spots on the trunk of the car.
When we first heard about UFOs, it took us 20 years to decide that these things may have an inside, that there may be somebody inside piloting them or whatnot. We couldn't accept the idea of an abduction even when we heard about the Betty Hill case. I certainly couldn't. And when we finally, reluctantly, were dragged kicking and screaming by the evidence itself to accept the fact that the Hills had been taken aboard, this had happened, there was absolutely no way to reject it.
When this story first broke, it was unexpected. All of a sudden, one day, there it was, front page of the newspapers, ran for the front pages for 5 days. We had to go to the store and buy the newspaper to see what was being published about us. Barney was standing out in the field looking up at this craft, and he could see the big picture window and the red lights on each side. He could see this group of humanoid-like figures looking down at him, and one of them was saying to him, "Don't be afraid. No harm's going to come to you. You're not going to be harmed. Just stay there."
Barney, wake up. It's Barney, his name. And I wouldn't answer. And then the leader. There's no reason to be afraid. We just want to do some tests. And then when the tests are over, we'll take you and Barney back to your car. You'll be on your way back home in no time. And then come to a clearing. And there was, oh, I wish it were light so I could get a better picture of it.
After my examination was completed, the man we call the examiner went into the room with Barney, and I'm alone now in the room with the leader, and I said to him, I would like to have something to take back with me to prove this really happened. There was a book there, and he said I could have this. Well, one of the crew members started yelling and carrying on, and so the leader took the book back.
I won't forget about it. You can take the book, but you can never, never, never make me forget. I'll remember if it's the last thing I do.
I wish I'd asked them the purpose for being here. That would have solved a lot of problems and mysteries, but I didn't. And this is one of the reasons why I go out to observe.
Well, the Air Force takes a dim view of this flying saucer business, or so we gather here in the outside world.
Well, actually, the Air Force takes quite an intense interest in this flying saucer business, because actually these flying objects are supposed to actually be violating airspace.
A press conference hears the Air Force intelligence chief declare that of 2,000 reports of saucers, most of those considered reliable can be satisfactorily explained, and the rest are no threat to the nation, says Major General James Samford.
We have, as of date, come to only one firm conclusion with respect to this remaining percentage, and that is that it does not contain any pattern of purpose or of consistency that we can relate to any conceivable threat to the United States.
work every day as a federal employee in a 5-sided building that has its own problems. When I depart the building, it's like Superman changing into Clark Kent or vice versa, so that I can feel free to live a double life, essentially. I'm Larry W. Bryant here in Alexandria, Virginia, where I operate the Washington, D.C. office of a group called Citizens Against UFO Secrecy, formed in the late 1970s to investigate what the government knows and when it knew it about UFO reality. Something crash-landed in New Mexico in 1947, leaving debris, bodies apparently, of the occupants, snatched up by military authorities, spirited away for intelligence analysis of whatever was found on the alien bodies recovered. Roswell stands as the answer to basically what the government has been doing for 40 years. Analyzing the scene back in 1983, I decided to escalate public awareness of the issue by filing what I called a petition for a writ of habeas corpus extraterrestrial. In my petition, I sought to have the remains, bodies, they don't have to be human bodies, of allegedly crash-landed flying saucers presented to the court for proper disposition. Well, it didn't go far because of some technicalities. In a catch-22 characterization, I could not show the current whereabouts of the bodies at issue, so therefore the court had no choice but to grant the government's motion for dismissal. I've been involved in a few other lawsuits. For example, a few months ago, actually over a year ago, I filed a Freedom of Information lawsuit against the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I did lose that suit. On the other hand, that did not deter me from going ahead with the next lawsuit. The latest lawsuit I filed against the Central Intelligence Agency over one document that refers to me. If there are no such thing as flying saucers, why do these agencies feel compelled to withhold information on their activities as regards UFO researchers and UFO encounters? If Americans cannot criticize their government, then we're in more trouble perhaps than if we were being invaded by alien visitors.
Here come the Martians, and they're riding on their Martian bike. Well, we have to find out right now, what kind of ice cream do the Martians like? Well, here come the Martians. Why staying in such a cheap hotel? Maybe we should help out the Martians. Looks like the Martians ain't doing too well. Martian time. Well, it's Martian rhyme time. We got a Martian rhymes for Martian time. And the Martians got notebooks in their little hands. Well, they're strangers in this land. Martian time, it's Martian time. Gentlemen, tell them all about it. The Martian rhymes for Martian time.
I am Jules Van Brabant of St. Paul, Alberta. I was born and raised in St. Paul. In 1967, I was the mayor when we decided to build this landing pad. The idea behind this landing pad is, frankly, to welcome everybody from this Earth, and also extraterrestrial beings, if there are any, and we hope there are.
What we are explaining now is the landing of spacecraft in 2001. And as they land, you will note that they will be stacked up one upon another. And as they land and are stacked up together, they will be sealed permanently, electronically, so that when all 33 ships are sealed, they will be about 2.5 miles high. And there will be 33,000 volunteer scientists of all of the avenues of knowledge that will be here.
But the most wonderful part about their coming is not really that they are coming, but they are going to remain and live here all of their lives. Can you imagine that?
Uriel, our great teacher, is called by the brothers themselves who are coming in the spacecraft, the Space Fleet Commander, and her spacecraft will be on top of the 32 spacecraft.
I carry the same power that our dear brother Jesus of Nazareth carried, and he turned over to me his love and light with the commendation, carry on from here, carry on my mission. I know you will do well. But I don't believe that he ever expected us, and I say us, to do all that we have.
Come with me through this tunnel of stars. Here you will find worlds of cosmic love to which there is no end. Never, never forget the pathway to the stars.
Yes, I would. And of course, depending on my schedule. No, actually, I would go. I don't think I'd have really any fear of going with somebody out there. I figure it's going to be, even if I died, it would be the most interesting experience I'm likely to ever have.
I don't really think I would just want to go out of space just like that. Owing to the fact, going there, I don't know the language where they speak. I don't have anybody that I would be able to communicate with there to make my life happy. So I wouldn't definitely want to go.
Well, I'd really have to think about that, because what if you didn't come back?
They're going to catch me, then take me. They're going to take me fighting and kicking and scratching all the way.
I would love to talk to them. I would love to see what's going on. Yeah, I mean,
I would go. I'd be out
like
here
we're really missing much here if we leave.
Yeah,
If communications were established, I'd go along. I'd ask them, take me a spin around the moon. Where would you like to take me? I get my mother to feed my cats. Why, you can take me all the way to Zeta Reticulum if you want.
The two of you are beginning a strange journey. A journey that no Earth people have ever undertaken before.
You'll marvel at the superior intelligence that unleashes its deadly ray, or can kidnap an airplane in flight.
It depends on your cultural background, on what kind of abduction you report. In England, they're very similar. The craft lands, politely invites the person to go on board, And once they're on board, they ask them if they'd like to go on a little trip, which they agree to. And they come back, and when they release them, they thank them for their cooperation and wish them a good day. That's English. Now, Brazil. Oh, in England, too. The beings are described as looking like us. Now, in Brazil, it's mostly men who get abducted. The men are treated roughly. They're asked many questions regarding sex, and they're thrown out. And usually they describe the beings as looking like us, although many times the beings are accompanied by a short, furry creature. Now, in the United States, we have a mixture of everything. All kinds of creatures go around kidnapping Americans, from little tiny dwarfs up to 6'6", tall, blonde, blue-eyed, handsome men with long, light flowing robes. All kinds of creatures looking like insects. One woman told of being captured by Batman.
Sleeping Beauty, The Awakening on video. But not until February the 7th.
The new Mitsubishi Carrera.
My experience is but a small part in this great plan. The Venetians are here among us with great love. Believe me, there are many more to come. Their purpose is to help us in this world crisis. Their influence is very great, as you will see. You are going to be able to meet these people, to talk with them, as well as take part in a trip to their planet. Believe me, for I know it is so.
Lots of people, I guess, want to get away from all the horror that's going on around us and try and escape from it. And I guess they're looking upwards because they feel that's where the good will come from, you know, to get away from it all.
Do you feel that's where it will come from somewhere
From
out
up there, yes, definitely, yes.
I have a burning desire to get into space, and the burning desire that I have is so deep that it almost feels like it's confirmation that there's alien life out there. We have an interest in alien life, and I'm sure alien life would have an interest in us. All we have to do is be able to make contact with them and tap into their knowledge.
I've looked at the night sky without an awareness that there's more out there than we can ever hope to understand. Things we might sense if we weren't too stupid to admit their existence.
We have had contact with the benevolent beings, the more advanced beings that made contact with Earthlings here in the early 50s and 60s. And oftentimes I've felt like I've been, I'm maybe 50 years ahead of my time, and 43 of them have gone by already. We hope that we're not more than 50 years ahead of our time, and that mankind will have been prepared to accept the reality of the extraterrestrials and the benefits that they are here to offer our civilization.
We live in peace, without arms or armies, secure in the knowledge that we are free from aggression and war, free to pursue more profitable enterprises. We do not pretend to have achieved perfection, but we do have a system, and it works.
They could change our whole way of life. I mean, they must have resolved a lot of their problems in order to progress to the point of being able to come here and to stay here. Look at their science. And they must have abolished death, or at least have extremely long lives. So they have great medical advances. And they, you know, if they're coming here, they've probably been to other star systems. I mean, it could take us we're almost like in the Stone Age compared with them. Look what it could do for us.
Do you think that day will come?
They're already here. I've been asked the question occasionally, since I see so many UFOs, the possibility that I attract them. And I would say the answer is definitely no, because I know where they go, and I go where they are to observe them. I have a certain signal that I give as identification.
Do you get any responses back?
Yeah,
Do you think they know who you are?
I think so.
Do they see you as a friend, do you think?
I think so. In fact, I've told them point blank, they better be good to me. I may be the only friend they have on this planet.
Well, if people think I'm nuts, it doesn't really bother me. I won't let that persuade me away from my work or my cause, as I feel it is a vision. As an artist has a vision, I have a vision. I search and I seek, and I'm not about to give up that search for any reason. They may already be visiting this world. I am sending out music from here to try to make more direct contact. I think music expresses the human element very well, the human spirit, the human feelings and emotions are well transmitted in music. Quality music, of course, but music nevertheless. And this is Project Strat Earth Station 1, your Northern Michigan's only alternative ULF creative music station. We're now going to bring you some Afro-pop to warm up your evening. Everything isn't hopeless, and the world isn't totally doomed and all this. I guess I hear a lot of gloom and doom today. But no, I believe the message is hope. The message is encouragement of creativity, of spirit, of being and growth, and the awareness of others, and the awareness of what might be beyond this world as well.
That I don't know. But I do believe they're making contact in whatever form or shape they take.
And there have been a lot of people that I've read for who have actually seen flying saucers coming out of the ocean, literally beneath Baja California.
As some have said, they come from within the Earth, but I firmly believe they're from outer space.
I found evidence that we discovered alien bases on the moon.
It gives life a little more dimension to think that there's some other life out there.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people that say there's visitors from other places.
So they just keep us in check by appearing every now and then. And to keep us in check, if we go over a little overboard, then they'll make sure we don't. That's my belief is that.
Have you ever seen a saucer yourself?
No. The only one I've seen is the one I built. That's probably why I built it. I'm Henry DiCienzo, owner of Flying Saucer Restaurant, situated in Niagara Falls, Ontario. All my life I've been fascinated by UFOs. My greatest dream is to have an encounter of the third kind.
How do I know you're not one of these people wandering around?
Well, maybe you wouldn't know, but I would know.
Oh, I see.
Naturally, we are very curious to know where it is you come from.
From another planet. Let's just say that we're neighbors.
You're a long way from home, aren't you, Mr. Carpenter?
How did you know?
Oh, I can tell a New England accent a mile away.
In the hope that they may answer all the questions that have baffled me all my life.
Have you ever had any alien visitors?
Alien visitors? Some weirdos, yeah, but not really. Oh, one thing that people have commented after one is that they're attracted by the lights, the colored lights. I'd like to realize one more dream. I would like to create one huge flying saucer and in the same construction as ferro cement, with the exception of having skylights on a roof instead of the solid cement, and to put it in a natural rocky terrain, elevated maybe 15, 20 feet from the elevation, and it would truly look like a UFO has landed. The looks would definitely be mind-boggling, more like a disco-type setting with all its colors and costumes for the waitresses and the special drinks and saucer dogs and Saturn rings, whatever, would complement decor. I would hope that if I ever built one, when the dream comes true, that they would be mistaken.